Hello and welcome to Roll for Review. We are here to look at a couple more awesome and amazing Kickstarter projects or crowdfunding projects in the TTRPG space. We can't use Kickstarter singularly anymore because there are now multiple crowdfunding platforms in which you can find really cool projects. But I do believe tonight all of our projects are going to be coming from Kickstarter. I'm Joe, and I make tabletop products for a living.
Hi, I'm Hannah, also known as Halfling Hannah, and I am a forever DM, and I create DM resources and things on Patreon, YouTube, and my website, halflinghobbies.com.
And I am Alex, a designer and marketer for The Wanderer's Guide and some other games, and I am an everyday RPG player and gamer.
And together we are Roll for Review, where the three of us stream and collect TTRPG related Kickstarters like Alex collects ST. What are they called?
L files.
STL files.
You probably shouldn't have stopped on those two letters.
ST. What do you collect, Alex?
STL files.
STL files. If you don't know what that is, it's 3D printing thing. You're welcome, everyone.
Great start. Here we go.
Anyway, we collect them and we showcase the very best to you. We've each chosen 3 campaigns. In this case, I think it is Kickstarters because we've all chosen something from Kickstarter. But we've each chosen our 3 favorites and especially the most popular to showcase to you. We're going to tell you all about these Kickstarters, what makes them especially interesting and compelling and worth your time to take a look at. And then we're going to give them a roll for review. This is a completely arbitrary number where we tell you basically how much we like this Kickstarter.
I'm really excited. We've got a lot of really great content for you. Our episodes have been a little bit staggered in the summer with different members of us being out at different times and on vacations and stuff like that. It's just been like hard to get like super consistent. So we've had about 3 weeks in between a couple of our last episodes, but that just means that there are more amazing projects to choose from. And this week, easily each one of us could have chose 5, but we really had to narrow it down to 3 projects, or else this show would be like 4 hours long. But we're super excited. I think we're going to dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I'm going to talk about my very first project that I picked that launched today. So, Over the Next Hill 2, 6 plugin settlements for your 5e game. 6 more settlements which can be inserted into your 5th edition game. Wow, that like subtitle and then like parenthesis after is really just like making sure you get the nail on the head.
You know?
So far, 232 backers with about $6,500. And now one thing I want to keep in mind, this is from Morris, or better yet, well known as EN Publishing, who we have reviewed several of their Kickstarters here on Roll for Review because they have a Kickstarter about every 6 weeks. But they like to do these things that they call quick starters, where they only run their campaigns for 2 weeks. And I have actually backed several of these. In fact, I am backing this one currently. And this was delivered to me only a couple of weeks after I backed it, which is unheard of for a Kickstarter project.
Wow.
So they have this ready to go. They print it locally. They send it to you. I will say it is not like a super high quality like print that you're getting, but it is a really nice like soft bound book. So I definitely see like it's worth spending your money on because you get the content that you're paying for almost immediately, which is very gratifying when you're used to backing stuff on Kickstarter, in which your stuff can take, you know, sometimes years to finish and get delivered to you, at which point you just kind of are like, oh cool, stuff arrived in the mail, this is exciting.
Like a gift.
Forgot about that.
Thanks, past me.
So as the resident person who's in need of being put in rehab and has backed, you know, 200 something projects this year alone, I will say the way I think about Kickstarter is I think about it like future or present me is buying future me a nice gift.
Yeah.
And so whenever it arrives in the mail, I just kind of get it and I'm like, oh, thank you, past me. This is a nice thing that you decided I wanted. So you'll get more instant gratification with these guys. So let's talk about the project. The reason I wanted to talk about this one specifically is because I really love what this campaign does, because this is what I, as a DM, will use as a resource 9 times out of 10 over a lot of other bigger projects that we look at. Hannah,
I'm so sorry. I was reading it for the first time and I was just skimming, and then I saw Gazebo Bay.
Yes.
Classic.
No, I have my next campaign has something that's far outshines this.
Oh boy.
Or like there's a thing in it that just like makes me happy to no end. So over the next hill too is the type of resource that I as a DM will use all the time, because what is it? It is simple plug and play settlements. So what they're going to do is they are giving you 6 different settlements. So we can look at some of them. Summerwine Creek, City of Hidden Ways, Gazebo Bay, Roke Creek, Stonewatch Lighthouse, the Medieval Lord's Manor, right? And then you can also get the original book. So altogether, if you want to get both books, there's 11 settlements you can get. So the Village of Druid, the Town of Village of Dreams, Spring of Heverfell, and the Hamlet of Vassendorf. So there's all of these settlements. And what's really unique is one of the most time-consuming things that's going to happen to you as a DM is when your party is not in the wilderness anymore and they're going into a new town or a new city or a new place that needs to feel fully fleshed out, and you really can't just like make up everything off the top of your head. This is something that like 2 hours before your session, you can read what one of these is and you can just drop it into your game, right? They're gonna be approaching a city for the next part of whatever is happening in your campaign. Boom, I'm taking the Roke Creek settlement and dropping it into my world, and I've read a very detailed synopsis of everything that's in here. It also comes with beautiful illustrations. It comes with top-down map views. It comes with interesting quests and plot points, different NPCs that you're going to meet along the way. So there's a lot of content that can give you kind of like these jumping off points to get figured out. What are the highlights? What do people talk about in this city? What is this city known for? What type of trade does it do? All of this type of content is included in these types of quick settlement snap in plug guides. I like this, and here's why. There's a lot of content that we look at that is very big and grandiose and feels very epic, right? Because a lot of times people are trying to take their ideas and weave it into this huge alternate storyline world building thing, right?
Thing.
Yeah. So we see this a lot where maybe there are like some really cool concepts, but instead of just letting them be cool concepts, they try to make this entire setting out of it, right? They're like, here's a setting for you to play with. And while some people might really dig that, I know a lot of people would rather just pull the cool elements out and put it in their own game. And what this campaign is doing is kind of cutting it like at the place where you want to cut and saying like, look, this is not a world that we've built. This is not some giant epic campaign that you have to run through. They're like, these are simple settlements with a lot of details that you can just plug into whatever campaign that you're running. It reminds me a little bit more of like the Twisted Taverns campaign we looked at earlier this year, where it's like, here's a bunch of really cool, kooky, weird taverns with some really interesting, fun things to do in each of them. Put them in your game, whatever you want. You know, that's what I like.
Yeah, or those hexes. I reviewed that one hex one.
Yeah,
that was really cool. Haunted hexes, and then you had one that was also, oh shoot, what was it? One Page Adventures. That's what it was.
I think
One Page Adventures one's the same
concept. I think you're right. I think it's really important to consider that if you are trying to put out your own campaign, like it doesn't always have to be this huge thing where if I'm kickstarting it because I need $80,000. You know, that's not everyone is going to want to drop $200 on your Kickstarter because it's this huge giant campaign. And a lot of the time, it could be more successful for you if yours if your concept is a lot smaller scale, that you just have a really quick small campaign that is just a really quick additive, and a lot of people really love those, and I think they're really quick additions where somebody can just be scrolling through Kickstarter and go, yeah, absolutely, I'll back this. It's a lower price point.
Useful. I think that was our exact, when Joe sent this to us, we both went, that's really useful. Yeah, absolutely. Solves a problem. Love it.
So if you're somebody that like does a lot of DMing, if you're somebody that kind of runs a homebrew campaign, if you're somebody that, you know, likes low prep, low pressure things to have in your toolbox for DMing, this would be something that I would highly recommend putting on your shelf. So let's talk about how much it's going to cost. You want the PDF of the new book, $10, and $20 if you want both PDFs, the original and the new one with 6 new settlements, right? They have a version 1 and now they're version 2. If you want the soft cover, you can get one for $28, or you can get, it's all the way at the top because I backed it. So it went to the top. You can get both books for $56, okay? You also get the PDF, so they include the PDFs with that as well. And they also have like an option if they're like, hey, if you missed our last like 15 campaigns, back for $200 and get everything we've ever printed, which is always a fun thing. Sometimes like if I am seeing a campaign for the very first time and I missed the creator's previous stuff, I will do that. That happened to me with that Grim Hollow campaign that came out with, like, they were doing the monster manual for it. I had not gotten like the DM guide and the player guide, so when the pledge manager came up, I ordered both of those so I could make sure I had that previous content, so I have all 3 books now. And I really like when campaigns
so good too.
Yeah,
that Grim Hollow one's really good. I got it too.
I'm excited to possibly do an unboxing if we ever get around to doing some unboxing videos. I'm really excited. That one will be a great one to do. Nice. But yeah, this is I mean, honestly, like if you want a book for $28, it's a little pricey, but like I said, you're gonna get it right away. And when I say it's a little pricey, like, hold on.
Joe's show and tell portion of our stream is about to take place.
If you happen to just hear that, it's apparently thunderstorming here, so just
this is the last Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
one page adventures, right? And so you can kind of see it's a soft cover, almost like a coloring book, I would kind of describe it as. Yeah. It's got, you know, like simple uncoded pages on the inside. You know, I like the graphic design. I know it's probably driving Alex bonkers looking at it, but I think it's like fun to look at and very visually interesting.
Look away, Alex, look away.
It's at least visually interesting. It's not just like black words on a white background, you know? But yeah, like this is what you're getting. So in my opinion, $28 is a little pricey, but it's also cheaper than a lot of the other type of content that's out there. If you're used to spending $50 on a book, it's a much smaller book and not as high quality as like something from Wizards of the Coast. But like I said, it's a small independent publisher that's printing it locally, shipping it to you directly and very quickly. I think the content definitely is the value that you're going to get here. And again, if that's like seems like a little bit of a steep price point for you, go with the PDF. I think this is a type of product that works as well as a PDF as it does as a supplement book on your shelf. I mean, I'm a physical product person, but some people like this is a very simple thing that's just to have as a PDF because you're literally just skimming it, reading it, and then using one of the things that you want to use. So it's not, you don't really need to have like the resource right there in front of you. So
what's going to be your role for this, Joe?
My role for this product is going to be a 14, and I'm going to give it a +1 for just how versatile and useful it is. I like that they didn't try to do anything extra. They said, this is a good idea. This is what we're going to make. We're not putting any frills about it. This is not 6 settlements in the world of Outlandia. They're like, nope, 6 settlements for you to use. And I like it a lot. I like how clean and simple it is.
Yeah.
My streak continues, by the way. I wrote 15, but you did 14 + 1, so I'm counting it.
Good. I don't know how you do this. You're so good.
It's keeping going.
Okay.
Speaking of really small campaigns, we're actually going to go the entire opposite direction.
Yep.
Here we
sure
go.
Are to the largest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the largest RPG, or is it the largest ever at this point?
This is the largest tabletop role-playing game Kickstarter that has ever been launched on Kickstarter.
Yep.
So there are several board games that are higher than this, and there's some like terrain Kickstarters that are higher than this. But as far as an actual role-playing game book, there's not a single Kickstarter that is higher.
This is the highest. This is highest. We're gonna nerds beware.
I'm so excited.
Blood pressure medicine or whatever you need to do to not pass out right now, because we are going to talk about Avatar Legends, the role-playing game. And I got dibs on this. I'm the lucky one who gets to talk about this because, oh my gosh, this is the officially licensed tabletop role-playing game set in the world of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and the Legend of Korra. And if you're wondering how they do it in a really cool way that I'm excited to talk about. But first, let's talk about these insane numbers. You've got 37,000 people have backed this. I am one of them. You have $4,500,000 raised for this. Insane. And it has 22 days to go. It just keeps going up. It's crazy. This is by Magpie Games. This is officially licensed. This is Nintendo's IP, but it's officially licensed and everything. So they are using like the art.
Nickelodeon's?
I just double checked. This actually has surpassed all of the dice and terrain Kickstarters in role-playing game products. This is the #1 role-playing game Kickstarter of all time.
Oh my gosh. And for good reason.
And if we didn't want to increase the tensions in the chat, I went ahead and added a poll. Aang or Korra, who's the better avatar? Vote.
You didn't. No.
In fact, this is the 18th.
Someone vote Aang for me. Actually,
so far, this is the 18th highest tabletop game. So this includes board games as well.
Oh my god.
On all of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
This is like the 18th
Not
most.
surprised.
This has made like the most money of like 18th most of any project that's ever been launched under tabletop, and it's actually in the top 25 of Kickstarters of all time. So that includes tech, fashion, anything.
Well,
this is insane. This is insane. Okay, and I feel like it's totally worth it. I went on a deep dive on how this is going to be set up, because you may be like, but wait a minute, there's only one avatar. How can we all play as the avatar? Well, you're not. I'm sorry. You don't get to be the avatar in this, which is unfortunate, but everything else that is in this is incredibly well thought out, and this is an interesting system. So this is its own system. This is not a 5e compatible system. This is its own setting and like role play. What do you call that? System. That's the one. So right now you can download the quick start guide and actually like start looking at the game and stuff, which I would suggest if you're looking to back this. But here is how this works. Basically, you are heroes in different eras of different avatars. So if you are a big fan of Avatar, you know that based on comic book series and novels and the TV show, there are multiple avatars, and different things were happening at these different periods when these avatars were alive and working towards balance in the world. Aang and Korra are not the only ones. Imagine that, but they're not the only ones. So you can choose the era that you are playing in. So really, this is what, 1, 2, 3. Oh, they include the 100-Year Wars. Yeah, so 5 different campaign settings in one. You can play this 5 different ways, and all of those will be different. So you have Koyushi's era, which is the novel. So you're dealing with talking about government corruption, and you're defending your nation and reinforcing your borders if you play during that time. You have Roku's era, which is a few years after the Fire Lord came into power. So you've got competing powers at this point. You've got big wars and big battles. Then, of course, you have the 100-Year War era, which is the period in which Aang was frozen. So you have this, you're rebelling against this unjust rule and this empire that's spreading throughout the world. You have Aang's era, which is the Airbender, the last Airbender. And that's when you're trying to heal the world, you're trying to restore balance, you're trying to stop the pains of war. And then you have Korra's era, which is the more modernized era, where you're looking at dealing with the repercussions of this imperialism that has happened, where you've kind of like obliterated cultures and whatnot. Yep. So you literally have 5 different settings that you can do during this. You can choose to be a bender, or you can choose to be a martial artist. You can choose to be a swordsman. You can choose, and this is what I love, because we're getting away from playing role-playing games where you're just you're just battling all the time. You can be a craftsman in this one and be just as useful to what is happening as anybody else. So you can choose to be a craftsman or tradesman as well, which I 100% would be. So what this does is this system, instead of having a bunch of the normal stats that we've kind of gotten used to in D&D and Pathfinder, things like that, this is going to focus more on like the spiritual aspects. So you have 4 core stats. You've got creativity, focus, harmony, and passion. And these stats are what kind of help you in succeeding in what you're trying to do. So it's very much a similar system to you roll and you get bonuses, right? Modifiers. But your modifiers come from those 4 things. So creativity is your ability to think quickly and unconventionally. Focus means your character's ability to perform under difficulties and precise tasks under pressure. Harmony measures your character's social sensitivity, care, and empathy. And passion measures the intensity of your character's emotions and drive. So you can see how each one of these could very clearly be more dominant in different characters and really flavor the role play that is a part of that. And it's a really creative and interesting way to bring more of those story elements into a role-playing game, as opposed to it simply being, how can I min-max this and kill the big guy in like 1 hit? Like, this is so much more about balance. So the whole point of this game is balance, right? Aang, that's a big part of his journey, is balancing these different things and understanding that there's really not anything that's all that bad. It's just out of balance. So your characters actually have a balance stat. And as you do different actions, it moves you one way or the other. And if you get unbalanced, you become more powerful in certain areas, but much weaker in other areas until you rebalance that character. And a big aspect of the world in general is bringing balance. So while you're not the avatar, you are still doing a similar work as to what the avatar does, which is to balance the world. And I could go more and more into all this amazing
It's a big
things.
game.
It's a big game. And it looks so good, and I cannot wait to get it because I think it's going to be awesome. Just so you know, because you may have questions about the more spiritual aspects of things, I just want you to know that they've already said that there are more books coming. So these aren't the only books that they're going to do. There's more books coming. One is going to be all about bending. So it's all of the rules and the mechanics and like different options for benders. Which if you don't do Avatar, you've got the 4 elements, right? And you can bend those elements kind of like magic, but it's more like ki. And then there's going to be one that's all about spirituality as well, and the use of that within the game. And I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited.
So I've never watched Avatar.
Well, you have homework.
You should. It's incredible.
It's
actually been this is actually super great timing. I mean, I'm sure that it was purposeful, but honestly, it's having a resurgence. It was added on to Netflix, I believe, and people were able to essentially watch the entire series over again. And we did. Oh, we sure did. And it got a lot of new fans into it as well. And people didn't realize how good of a show it was and how an adult show it was. And I think it really lends itself super well to an RPG. And I mean, there's a reason it has $4.5 million right now.
Yeah. This is one of those shows that has no business being as good as it is. Like the character development, the plot development, the things that it talks about. That the adult subject matter that is discussed in a way that is very, obtainable, not just to kids, but to everyone,
Yeah.
is just incredibly good. It's just really well done. And it's one of those shows that was like one of the entry points in the United States for more shows like this and anime in general.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those foundational shows too for nerds. Yeah.
And Matthew David in the comments, you are correct. So Netflix is going to be doing a live action version. But I did read, however, that the original people who did the show stepped away. The original directors stepped away from the project. But who knows? But what's really, really interesting to me is all the kind of different directions you can go in. Because, you know, they could have easily just said, this is about the heroes. You're going to play the 5 heroes or the specific characters that you already know and go. But they've decided that you can take a different approach of, you know, for example, a waterbender from the Northern Water Tribe who seeks to protect an ancient secret, an earthbender from Ba Sing Se. You can play these kind of side characters and build your own story, which is really, really amazing. But
in all of these different times too, that all have this different focus and this different like political atmosphere to them. It really is like 5 different campaign settings in one. It's so cool.
I'm really, really interested in the Kyoshi's era, Roku's era, and 100 War era, specifically the first 3, because obviously Aang's and Korra's eras are in the show. The 100-Year War, not as interested, but really interested in Kyoshi and Roku, mainly because
like the before times.
Because you get a lot of these little snippets throughout the series, right? You get Aang's past lives, you get the memories of each past avatar, and you only get little snippets. But I think it'd be super interesting to kind of live that out. You're essentially living out a show that's not been written.
It's your own live action show.
And Matthew Cameron, I think this is a good question. We should say what our favorite element is. I'm going to rephrase this. What we think our element would be as a bender.
Those are 2 very different questions.
So let me do a quick kind of description. Airbenders are very much go with the flow. They're nomadic people. They're very happy. They're very fun.
Lighthearted, if you will.
Very lighthearted. Firebenders are very intense. Their fighting style is more aggressive. It is very much they're
stuff up.
But it's about life. As you watch the series, you realize fire is more about life rather than power. Earth is strength, kind of that gut, that that kind of that just kind of really grounding. They're not dumb. They're just very grounded people who are very. They have a rich heritage, and they're more about they're salt of the earth people. Exactly why they're called the Earthbenders. And Waterbenders are. They're kind of that indigenous tribe. They have that very indigenous feel. That was the point of the series, and especially the live action. They were really hiring specifically indigenous people. But think more towards their waterbending is more based on Tai Chi. So it's got a lot of flow. It's more towards that spiritual balance. They really touch on that in Korra, too, where it's more spiritual. So those are kind of the elements. That being said, I would personally think I would be an airbender.
I could totally see that. Yep. I am, and this may surprise you, but I am definitely a firebender, but I would want to be an earthbender. Earth are my favorite, but I would definitely be fire.
I'm pretty sure I'm an earthbender.
Joe, I think you're an earthbender. I would call that.
They tend to be, and they're like the strongest, but they tend to be the most gentle. Which is one of the reasons through the series that I really like the Earth.
Price point.
Price point. Sorry, the one nerd is just like, let's go.
Yeah, we could talk about this forever.
We can. Okay, so if you want all PDFs, you're not gonna believe this, guys. If you want all these PDFs, they're just $20. Wow, they made this incredibly accessible. And I am so thrilled and happy with this because they could have price gouged this and we still would have paid it, but they didn't. So thank you for that. So $20 gets you in the door. You want all PDFs and the core rule book. You're looking at $50, which is very standard. That's what we see a lot. $75 is my go-to that I suggest and the level that I backed at. So 75, you're going to get all the PDFs, the core rulebook, and all of the physical stretch goals, which they met them all because they're at a ridiculous amount of money. So there's a lot of value there. You want to make sure that you do that. And at the very top, the graphic at the very top shows you all the stuff that you get in the Penguin Otter one. So there's like the special avatar dice. You get those little books that are adventure books that you can write in. So they have their own journals of the different bending colors and stuff. And there's just a lot of value there that I think is totally worth the $75. On up past that, you get special covers. So if you want Aang or Korra, specific covers instead of the split, you can do that. And then past that, some retail stuff. But yeah, $20 for the PDFs and $75 for all the goodies. I mean,
even at the really high price point, it's really not that bad. Like I think there was like a $200 one with like some really sexy dice on there. But this is really affordable compared to like, didn't we look at a Kickstarter like a couple episodes ago where it's like $300 and you got like some cool dice and a flask?
Yeah, flask one. Yeah, like, why?
Like this definitely seems like it's priced very affordably for people. They're not gouging, which is really great. You probably mentioned this, but I think it's worth noting this is not a 5e product.
No.
Yeah, I did mention that, and I will say it again. It is not 5e compatible. It's its own system.
This is, and Magpie is big about that. Magpie is not a 5e company. Magpie is very much, they're a big proponent of this one Facebook group that's called Play Something Besides 5e. And they're really into like, hey, there's other role-playing systems out there. I like 5e personally. But no,
I like role-playing games. That's
totally
why we're
get that. I am curious though, if this was 5e, do you think it would be doing better
than it is now?
That's hard to say, right? Because
that's really hard to say.
Okay, well, here's one thing I will say: this proves that your Kickstarter does not need to be 5e in order to be successful. But it has a really great license. So
incredible. I don't know how they did it.
What I would say before we go into a roll is that if it was 5e, you wouldn't be able to do the source material as much justice because you're fitting it into an existing system. By creating their own...
That it doesn't fit into.
They're creating their own that is true to the source material, allows you to go on new systems such as Balance, which are very, very true to that. And I feel like it wouldn't have been genuine.
The 4 stats?
Yeah.
I mean, the 4 stats I think are way better than the...
Yeah.
I can't
it wouldn't have been genuine towards the source material, and people are passionate about the series, so that was a smart move.
They've done it justice, and Alex, you know what I'm going to roll for this. You might as well put it up there.
Alrighty.
It's a nat 20. This is absolutely incredible. This is a critical success, obviously flawless.
Clearly.
Can't wait for it to come out. We'll do an unboxing when I get it. And
this is a moment, guys. Biggest tabletop Kickstarter project of
all time.
And we reviewed several $1 million campaigns this year. This one is $4 million, and it's only been live for a week.
Yeah, 22 days left. This is gonna be insane.
This could be in like
totally worth checking out. Even if you've never played anything other than 5e, this might be the one. Yeah. This might be the one to try out. Looks great. Anyway.
Alrighty.
Alex
is going to do the thing he's good at, which is explain something to me which I have no idea.
I didn't understand this one either, so yay.
So before, just a quick, for those of you new to the channel, I'm always on the lookout for new technologies, new things that change the scene a little bit, or increase sorts of ways that you can interact with the game as well as your players. And we've done something similar for this one, but I want to talk about, the first one I'm going to talk about is Never Ending Dungeon. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page because I had already watched the video. Never Ending Dungeon. And it is a software for generating adventures and running RPG sessions. So what this is previously we have looked at campaigns that are just designing dungeons. But this allows you to design your dungeon, but then it will essentially fill that dungeon for you. So it will take creatures, it will take, there are about 15 pre-made stories that you can follow that it will fill into your dungeon that you've made. And it will actually take this and procedurally generate NPCs and monsters, and it'll just fill that in, which you can then go in and edit them if you don't like the suggestions that the system makes. So it's that step up from what it could potentially be from what we've already looked at, instead of just that. So there yeah.
Dude, I was gonna ask, how is this different than Dungeon Alchemist? Yeah, it's different. That's wow.
So, for example, when you choose your map, you can then select the density of monsters, traps, NPCs, and loot with drag bars that literally can, like, if you want more NPCs, it'll fill the map with NPCs or monsters or traps. But you can customize it still, so it's that much more. Just with one click, you can generate the whole map. Never-ending dungeons, so there's different styles as well. Not only that, but you can actually get PDFs of certain map pieces, so you can still make in-person maps. They still provide the PDF versions of them that you can then print. And it's super, super interesting. It's definitely... here's the thing. The delivery date is around September 2022. It's going to take some time to generate this sort of AI. However, they have raised $91,000 of their $11,000 goal with 1,400 people, over 1,400 people backed, and this is Spell Arena, and this is their first ever created campaign. So super, super interesting. I was just so enamored with this, looking through it, and the potential of not only so it does work with all virtual tabletops as well. It works with 3 different versions of virtual tabletops. Roll20. What are the other 2? Foundry, and then starts with an A. The last one I'm trying to scroll through and see if Astral. Yeah, no, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Astral, and Foundry. So it works with 4. And this is just a super, super interesting concept for a Kickstarter.
Dude.
But the fact that they already kind of have this going, and they already have started testing, and they're already working on it. They, like I said, there are 15 stories that they can then pull and then work with this.
Okay, we talked about the computer uprising thing, the machine uprising. I think it was before we started recording, but we were talking about it today. How long before we have AI dungeon masters? And you never have to worry about getting a dungeon master again.
That's the next step after this one. After this Kickstarter is that.
I gotta find somebody. We gotta find AI dungeon masters. Having problems finding a DM? Never worry about it again.
So I'm genuinely curious, right? Like, I know that this like populates the density of monsters based on a couple of different factors, but it seems like this is cool, but it's really about like random like hack and slash dungeon crawling, right? As opposed to like actually generating a dungeon for your campaign.
Well, it actually also, you have items that you can drop in. It also does NPCs, so it's not just hack and slash dungeon.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You can also upload your own map.
Yes.
And then drag and drop to have it populate it for you.
And if you
if you have a map that you're using for your campaign, then you can use it in accordance with that.
And if you use a TV, and I'm showing it on the screen right now, when you can actually reveal sections of the map with a TV on the table.
Which I do have.
So, for example, when we're in Roll20 and when Joe's our DM, he is like choosing specifically to open up parts of the map. But if you have this on the table, you just plug the TV into your laptop and it will do the exact same thing. It will reveal it as people move through.
So cool.
It is really cool. But again, it's just not for me.
That's
you
fine.
can do first-person view.
Yes, you can also do first-person views. There are rotating views. It is definitely getting to that point where you're either going to be... There's definitely going to be a bridge, right? You're either going to be the pure analog, make my own maps, everything is here, or you're going to start introducing some digital. I think there's definitely some different things to weigh and between this or that, right? And I think depending on the DM, it's kind of a spectrum that you sit on, right? Like Joe, for example, you're a lot more, you're less wanting to procedurally generate stuff, and you are taking everything specifically and planning them and being more deliberate. This is more about that kind of digital aspect, create the game, generate it, and you're almost getting into like a D&D Ready Player One scenario. The next thing would just be this is virtual reality and we call it a day.
See, I've heard that there are a lot of D&D groups where it's just like, oh, there's a dungeon by this town. Oh, let's go in there and find some loot. And then they just go in and like beat up a bunch of monsters and like that. There's no story. Like that's just it. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun at all. That doesn't even sound like an enjoyable experience. I'm like, I like if you're not playing for the story, like I don't know. Like if I want to just like roll dice and fight monsters, I'll play a board game, right? Like it's over and quicker.
Again, which is why they include stories that go along with this. I think this is less of this is your whole campaign, you use this system. But it's more of a supplement that can add on.
And you can also go in, it's not like you can only do the procedural generated. You can go in and be like, oh, that's a cool concept. I'm going to add to that. And
I totally get it. It looks like a really cool project and just leaps and bounds, like moving the hobby forward in really cool, interesting ways. I just like in my mind, I have a lot of questions, right? Like I'm like, how like do I tell it like I've got 4 level 6 players? Here's the XP I want you to spread out amongst the dungeons.
Probably.
That's a good question.
Like, so like those are things. Because like
is the person here that made it by chance?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that is because that's a good question, because that would be super cool. If you're like, I want them to be, level up by the end of this dungeon, so this is the amount of XP that they need, make it so, that would be cool.
I think it'd be definitely interesting to, hopefully what they do is throughout updates, they send out beta tests and things like that. I think that would be very smart. But that being said, let's move on to price point, because this is also super exciting. $36 gives you a lifetime license.
He used emoji. What?
$36, lifetime license.
What?
5 digital set of maps, tiles, PDFs, Kickstarter exclusive object sets, all stretch goals, access to options during the pledge manager. $36.
Okay, that's kind of worth it just to see where it goes.
Gold, there's not, the only real difference here that I would suggest for the 53 is access to the beta. However, you might just want to say, I'm waiting. But if you're really that eager, the extra $20 might be something that you want to look into. To $53 to get access to the beta, I think would be great. But you also have to keep in mind that that's where they're beta testing. So yeah, I think anywhere up from there is, there's, you got the $65 digital all-in, which includes the 15 adventures if you're really wanting to get the maps and the system plus the adventures that they've written. Or if you're wanting to someone just homebrew and then use it, the $56 is perfect.
I answered my own question. You can play without a game master. They have a solo option.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Where?
But how does it work? Well, you missed it because it's way down there. How does it work is way down there. But there's a how does it work? You can play without a game master. Just choose the solo option. The app will create
a unique scenario. It literally says our app will create a unique scenario just for you.
So if you got that D&D ditch and you don't have a dungeon master around, there's options now. God, I gotta step up my game. Technology's coming for me.
It's coming for you.
Oh, no.
There's a lot here.
Or just make content for robots.
Right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Somebody's got to write those random things.
As they start to go up in price point, they start to add things like terrain stickers and things like that. But honestly, to just get into the system and get access to the beta, you don't need the stories if you're more of a homebrew style like Hannah and Joe. And you just get into the game. Or get into the system. So I think this is really, really awesome. So I'm going to give this a roll here. I am going to give this a base roll of 16 because it's not everyone's cup of tea, right? There's going to be people who just don't want to use it. But I'm going to give this a +2 for all that it has to offer the price point, and the fact that it is really pushing the envelope in terms of technology. This is just it deserves a +2 for that.
Included in that is the pun on Never Ending Story.
Yes.
Yeah. For the
All
title,
right.
so that better be included in there.
All right. So those were our first 3 projects that we've reviewed. So what we're going to do now is take a quick break to hear about a project that's near and dear to our hearts, and we will be right back.
Bye.
The Wanderer's Guide is a 50-page compendium designed to enhance your fantasy RPG campaigns. Immersive, beautiful maps and artwork by Andrew Bosley. Dry erase pages for quick editing and changes as your campaign evolves. An abundance of tokens to add more character, landmarks, features, and customization to your campaign. An interactive NPC system for adding lots of variety and plot hooks for the Game Master to engage the players. Artwork featuring fun details and story elements to enhance collaborative storytelling, world building, and spark the imagination of the players and the Game Master. The Wanderer's Guide. Your world, your adventure.
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Dork.
Hello.
Come on in. Have a sit by the fire while we have a little chat, and I introduce you to our next project here on Roll for Review, Verdant Isles, a Teatime adventure RPG, a heartwarming new tabletop role-playing game where every adventure comes with a tea pairing. This is the first project by Snow Bright Studios, and this is their second project. I'm super excited to talk about this. First off, because they're from Cleveland, baby.
Hey,
yeah,
I guess that's boys. Good.
Yes, local folks. Anyways, we are. Yeah, I see that message too. We'll figure it out. We are okay, real quick. We can edit this out in the in post. Do we want to shut this down and let me open a new one?
How is that going to be able to edit out in post? So just letting you all know what we're seeing. Our Google Meet has now been throttled to limited time that we are just now realizing. So we might have to switch over. We will be back. Why don't we do this? I believe one of us has access to longer meetings, and we will be right back. We'll just switch it over to starting soon, and we'll be right back.
Stay here, guys. I'm gonna.
Okay, stay.
All right, we're back.
Hi.
Oh,
Sorry.
They're from Cleveland, but not only that, this is a really, really special project. Okay, they have 226 backers and have raised over $15,000. So we're really excited to be talking about them today. But this is a 5e campaign or like setting in which it is just like a animal folk and fairy folk, like pleasant, like think like the Shire, but like a little bit, but like way friendlier, right?
It's the
like
100-acre Shire.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It has gorgeous characters. It is. They are very open about the fact that they are this is a very LGBTQ plus like inclusive, disability inclusive, all of these different things. They have made sure that like there's full inclusivity across the spectrum of genders, races, everything, abilities, everything is very like open. So you're going to find a lot of really cool and special content that they've put into this. But not only that, the entire idea is that you're not coming into this place and like fighting monsters and like going on epic quests. You're just relaxing and hanging out with these wonderful creatures and helping them solve mystery. There's actually like this like quests that you can go on, and one of them is somebody that delivers baked goods all over the town. Somebody switched the salt and sugar, and then you have to find out who did it, right? And this is like, yeah,
those monsters.
And this is like the height of scandal, right? But
I love it so much.
There are deer folk, there are frog people, and here's my favorite. There are alligator people, and they are called snootlings.
No.
Yes, so they have alligator people called snootlings, and that is by far my favorite thing that I've ever heard or seen on this show in almost a year of doing it. The fact that there are snootlings, I absolutely love it.
That's a better name. I will not call them alligators from now on. They're gonna be snootlings.
All of them, yes.
All of them.
Yeah, so you visit the town of Oakenbend, help out the town folk, spend some time relaxing. This is like D&D R&R, right? This is just like rest and relaxation. This is a great entry point for maybe children that are not like ready for like hot and heavy like role-playing things, or even if you just like have a group who just wants to take like a break for like a campaign arc and just say, hey, we're gonna play this instead, and it's still 5e. You don't have to teach them new rules, but it's just kind of like, hey, who messed up the cookie recipe in the town this week?
I do also want to say that Snowbright Studios is actually in the comments right now.
Yay! Hi! I love this so much.
And
I'm backing it right now, actually.
Whenever we have the creator in the comments, I always want to encourage you all in the comments watching right now. Ask any questions you might have. And Snowbright Studios, feel free to respond. We want to give you the opportunity to kind of talk about your project too to the people watching our show. We're obviously happy to review and talk about it, but having you here is great, and we want people the opportunity to answer any questions they might have.
Yeah, so each one of the adventures that they've written comes with a very special tea pairing and a homemade vegetarian recipe that you can share with your friends while you play the game.
I love
so
that.
this has Hannah written. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is there's a new mechanism in this actually, which is really cool, but it's called harmony magic. Okay. Ooh. And basically you can work together with the other players to cast powerful spells by manipulating tokens on a board, and you can cast harmony spells. And that's like a really cool thing that you're able to do, because it's something that like is an extra element of the game. Where the players are physically manipulating game pieces to work together in this combined joint effort. So it's kind of like this little mini game that you can play to like have this like harmony spell effect come into play. The artwork in this is vibrant and warm.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
This is incredibly wholesome.
Oh my gosh.
I love the idea that this is like a perfect thing to play with possibly younger children, and the fact that it is also so inclusive. So you can really like not have to worry about like how everything is like super like fantasy. Like there can sometimes be like some very sticky stuff with like traditional fantasy like settings and stuff
tropes,
like that. Yeah, like the tropes can be a little bit unsettling sometimes, especially when you have to like children ask questions. Like a lot of like adults can hand wave that because they've like dealt with it in their own minds and like you know like figured it out and can process it differently. But when like children ask you very pointed questions and you're like, okay, let me unpack this really awful thing for you real quick. Yeah, like let me like break this down for you on
maybe
your
that shouldn't be in there. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It has a beautiful map, so it definitely gets extra bonus points from me. All of the different characters. This game really does feel like you want to play it sipping a cup of tea next to a fire with your friends, enjoying a meal together in your PJs.
There's a
cake
village,
and tea.
There's a village dog that you can befriend.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, absolutely.
I rolled to pet the dog.
Okay.
100%.
Let's.
Oh, it's so cute.
I want to talk about price, and then I'll get your guys' feedback, and then we'll kind of get a roll.
Are they at 10,000 yet? I don't remember. Yes, actual tea set has been unlocked. Sorry, got excited.
Woo.
All right. So, $25 gets you the PDF. $50 will get you the 200-page hardcover book of Teatime, plus the Harmony spellcasting print and play PDF. But if you're looking for something a little bit bigger than that, you can go for the luxury tea set, which is $250, and it includes the 200-page book, a custom blended tea for your adventures. It comes with an RPG dice set, a poster of Oakenbend, the quick reference GM guides, all of the Harmony spell casting tokens, which look really beautiful, spell casting cards, the play mats, everything that you need. It just as a full, huge box set. It looked absolutely fantastic. Everything is really well laid out. And I think that if this is something that, like, if you're looking for something that's just like a calmer in between of your traditional like epic fantasy, or sci-fi, shenanigans that you're used to doing in RPGs, and you want something that's just a little bit more mellow, I think that this might be the perfect thing, and something to like really just set a different pace for like your RPG group, and just say, hey guys, we're gonna spend 5 weeks in Oakenbrand.
Dude.
We're gonna
my Discord is gonna freak out.
Yeah. We're gonna go swimming with the snootlings and have tea with the deer folk and go with the fairies into the wood. All of
find
these
out
things.
who switched the sugar.
This is fantastic. All I want to say is at the end of the day, Snowbright Studio, this is an amazing first project, and I can tell that your passion and your heart is like so in this, and it really comes through in everything. It is one of the most beautifully and thoughtfully put together projects I've ever seen, and seriously, kudos to your team for all of the effort that's gone into this. I think it's a very special project, and I hope a lot of people back this because of how unique and special it seems. We've looked at a lot of cute projects. We've looked at playing RPG familiars. We've looked at like playing like little mice in the like giant kingdom of people's backyards and
these
stuff like
were
that.
all me. He's talking about me. I reviewed all of these.
we've looked at like the cats and dogs, the animal adventures from Steamforged Games last week. But I think as far as like from wholesome setting place, like this one takes the cake. I think it is more thoughtfully presented than any of them. Yes.
So what are you gonna roll it?
I am going to give this an 18.
Ooh.
I think that this really deserves a lot of attention, and this deserves a lot of people to be looking at it and paying attention to it, because I love Kickstarter, and the reason we look at Kickstarters is because it is the one place where people can be as creative as they possibly can and bring an idea. Wizards of the Coast would never sign a product like this. But Kickstarter, you can find a community of people that want to role play having tea with animals, and I am here for it all day long.
I'm that community. I want to do that.
So Verdant Isles, a Teatime adventure RPG, is going to get an 18 from us today. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Fantastic, Snowbright. Love it. I don't have anything to add to even improve it. It's It's great. It is absolutely great. We're gonna move on from tea time to hack and slash time, because why not? Everybody loves a good hack and slash. We're moving on to Epic Legacy's Heroes Handbook. We have reviewed, I believe, Epic Legacy within this brand before, right, Joe? Wasn't there a monster manual?
Yeah, so in fact, I'm looking at their previous projects. I reviewed Epic Legacy Tome of Titans.
That's what it was, Tome of Titans. Okay, so basically what this is a whole series of books that's focused on above level 20. So this specifically is creating player characters that are above level 20. This is set for 5e. It's 5e compatible, but it has good principles if you want to run high level games, regardless of what you are playing. They have 548 backers. They are over $42,000 raised. This is a solid company. Again, this is 2CG? Yeah, 2C Gaming. We reviewed their stuff before. Solid, super high quality. The reason why I'm highlighting this one is because this is like, they've been doing this since 2018, I think, was their last one. It's been a few years since their Epic Legacy Core rulebook was published in 2018. Since that time, they've built this community. People have run these games over level 20, and they've compiled all of the feedback that they've gotten, all of the suggestions, all the workups that they need to do, and they've compiled all of that into this handbook, this Heroes Handbook. So this is like the ultimate resource if you want to run an epic level campaign, or you want to continue your campaign past level 20, which 5e does not currently allow for. So this has some really stinking cool stuff in it. This has different things for prestige. I don't know if you guys are gamers, you know what prestige is. It's where you've gotten to the highest points and then you start over and you do it again, kind of thing, and you get prestige points for that. They have prestige options for each one of the classes that just give you more abilities and make you even more of the god-slaying epic party that you are. So this is just going to be your full Heroes Handbook for how to create those just broken, crazy epic level party members. And then you're going to need monsters for that. So they have that Epic Legacy Tome of Titans. Those are like epic level monsters. They also have some of that in the core rulebook that will come with this. So some of the things that you'll see in here is that you are going to have this idea of what it's like playing epic level characters. You're going to have creating them. You're going to have what combat looks like, what exploration looks like, and role play. You have epic monsters, epic encounters. You're going to have options in homebrewing. So you have all of that in there to help you where there was really no help before that point. You just kind of played at level 20 if you wanted to continue a campaign. You just kind of stayed there, but it kind of feels stale when you're not continuing to grow and get more experiences and all that stuff. You had to homebrew all that. Well, you don't now. And this is something that, again, there's not a lot of resources out there for, so this is very, very helpful. What do you guys think? Would you ever do an epic one-shot?
A one-shot, yes.
Yeah.
I will give this, I gave a really high review to the Tome of Titans, which I reviewed a couple episodes back.
Mm-hmm.
But same criticism that I have. Not a lot of people make it campaigns to level 20. So I think that this is more something where, like, you're not playing to level 20, but you're like playing a campaign where you start at level 20 or close to it.
Yes.
So you're like playing like god-slaying super, like you're basically playing the Justice League of America, but
yes, you're playing the character backstory you actually wrote, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you write this, I slew this dragon that killed my family, but I start at level 1, right? No, you're actually playing the character that you write this epic backstory for, where you really are heroes of the realm. You can actually start there and progress from there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's just my main criticism is like playing at that level is its own challenge in and of itself, you know, like yes, you can do anything, but I think part of the fun of playing the game of like in role playing is the fact that there are stakes, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like the stakes, I mean, yes, this book is trying to work on making those stakes work and having villains that actually do give you a fight. But at a certain point, I think like when you can do everything and you can like slingshot around the moon to do a pile driver into the big bad guy,
Yeah.
I'm like, it just doesn't feel as satisfying as when you're
I don't know, man. Goku, even in the later series, when he's like blowing up planets and stuff, I'm still there for it, you know? I'm still there.
Well,
I love it.
It's just a thing where I like it to be a little bit more grounded for me.
That's
but for people that do want to play that, this is what you got to get. This is the content you need.
The next campaign that I start, I think would be super cool to do an epic campaign, because I've started so many campaigns at level 1 or at level 3. I really like starting at level 3. I've started so many there, and they get to maybe 15 before the story ends or fizzles out or whatever. So you never really get to that like epicness.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to just start in the epicness, you know? And as a player, it is super fun to be able to just like deal massive amounts of damage. It's so much fun.
It is. As a bard who doesn't deal that much damage, it's fun when I do deal a little bit of extra damage.
Right? You're like, oh, I did something.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So I think that this is a super fun product for those who are looking to do something different still within D&D, who maybe want that epicness. This is perfect for one-shots. This with that Tome of Titans, perfect for one-shots. You can do so many fun things with that. Highly recommend it. This is pretty much their normal price point for everything that they do. $25 gets you the PDF. $55 gets you the print version and the PDF.
Pretty
which,
standard.
you know, I always like it when they do the PDF and the printed version at the higher price. So pretty standard. I would suggest getting the book for this because it is a core rule book and it has really cool art. So that would be my suggestion on there. Just a really fun little epic legacy for you.
All right. So what would be your final roll?
My roll for this is a solid 15.
All right.
Nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Very, very nice. All right. So, in the beginning, Hannah gave an intro, and it's STL files. So if you happen to go back, it's STL files. There was an unfortunate pause after the ST and STL files. But that being said, I 3D print quite a lot of things. For example, I designed and 3D printed the Disneyland Castle. Look at that. And I love 3D printed files. And I always want to take a look at campaigns that feature STL files, miniatures, and things like that, because I want to print them and have big statues of cool things in my apartment. So that being said, I'm going to talk about Uncharted Lands book and STL collection, because what this is, it's not just STLs. It is a book featuring an entire new land, different races, different locations, different NPCs, different everything. And then they went, hey, do you have a 3D printer? You can print all of it.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
I'm there for this.
And oh my gosh, they have raised $200,000 of their $35,000 goal.
Wow.
Over 2,700 backers, 20 days to go. And this was made by Danny Herrero, a 5e D&D dungeon master and 3D printing enthusiast. And so this is quite a lot here. And my one specific gripe that I'm going to make, the video features a ton of beautiful and gorgeous art. Gorgeous art. The entire top section of the Kickstarter page is all text.
Brown.
And brown. And it's brown on brown, so it's harder to read because it's brown on brown.
Brown on brown.
So there's a lot of things here that it's got new lands, it's got different places to explore. Blasted Isle, Golden Plains, Heart of Green Sea, Town of Grey Mill. All these different new races, Arydia, that are like spider people.
Ugh, nope.
Pureblood Tikal, Galari, Snow Orcs. New subclasses, Ethereal Warden Fighter, Pact of Frost Warlock, Igneous Domain Cleric, Oath of Grief Paladin. All these different amazing things that is different encounter adventures in these forests or caves, in these desert lands and frost lands that are beautiful. And there's even this giant, like, you know how they have the elephants in Lord of the Rings? This is like a T-Rex elephant.
Nice.
And it's so cool. And there are also all of these beautiful, incredible STL files that are gorgeous. I mean,
Did you see the trash kobold?
Where is the trash kobold?
They have a trash kobold, and I really like it. God. You raise this in some races. Could you imagine, like, having these junkyards that constantly have to fend off, like, from dudes. Trash kobold? Yeah! Oh, sorry.
The way they
these are really cool.
They're really cool. And the way they've split them up is very smart. So they've split them up by each sort of location or locale in the story. So they have the Blasted Isle core collection. They have the Golden Plains core collection that features the dragon. And there's some of these that aren't completed yet.
These tents are so cool.
They're going to have tents and full, like, ships and all these certain location-based and sort of, landscapes.
People?
There's all of these different pigeon people. Where are their pigeon people?
It looks there are Plains one. You see it?
Yeah, they're kind of pigeon eagle people. But there are just so many different things here. The giant crocodile is really, really cool. There's this whole
snootling. Thank you.
That
is what we're calling them from now on.
Matthew, David, all the files have been tested on FDM and resin printers, and the terrain can be printed without supports, which is incredible. If you are a fan of 3D printing or have a 3D printer without supports, is the best thing in the world. There's the Kobold Coalition, the giant T-Rex, great horned Carnotaurus.
Nice.
Beautiful. There's so many different types of areas.
Look at their barrels.
Look at
the kobolds in their barrels.
Oh my god, I love it. And it's so cool because it's like a ton of different locations in one big campaign.
This is so clever.
And you know how we said, like, you don't always have to go big or go home?
Yeah.
This one did go big and go home, and they did it well.
Yeah, they went home. It was good. Straight to my home.
It was beautiful. The Sunken City,
these are cool.
All of these different locations. The one thing is I would have loved to see more of the art featured in the beginning of the campaign. I think that's my biggest gripe here. A little bit more of the story featured, I think. Not everyone's going to watch your video. They'll maybe make it like 5 seconds in and go, I like it. And same thing with the page. You get about 3 scrolls. So I think really take a look at, when you're building your page, when you feature such amazing art. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and skip to a section here in the video that's just showing all of this different beautiful art. And, it's not really featured if you don't watch the video.
I have a big problem with this campaign.
Uh-oh.
Got a big issue.
No maps?
I have looked at this entire page. I've looked at every STL model, and I cannot see any of their butts.
We gotta know if it's got the buns. We don't buy without the buns.
I'm sorry, but if you want to impress this panel, we need to see the cake.
We saw some impressive cake last time from the creator.
Right, here you go.
Oh my gosh.
Danny, you email us. You message us, okay? Cardboard Truth on Twitter, and you send me the best butt screenshot,
the best STL booty,
all your STLs, and then we'll give you a score.
Oh my god!
For a little context, there are multiple campaigns where we reviewed STLs, and they put way too much effort or necessary effort into the cake of said character.
Amount.
Just a lot of booty on a lot of these STLs, like just some thick STLs.
Booty.
One could say that maybe
on
Danny,
monsters, I should say, just on monsters. Yeah,
maybe Danny is half-assing it here.
All right, so what do you guys think of this overall project? Again, I think there's a lot to offer, but you miss a lot in the layout.
I just told you what I thought.
All right.
Yeah, I love it. Cake or no cake, I love it.
This is beautiful.
So creative.
We've said before, we see so many STL projects that are so boring to look at. But I love when somebody is like, I have an idea for an STL project, but I am going to make a companion piece to go with it. I think one of the first ones was print all this like cavern terrain and all of these monsters and play this story. And then we looked at one that was like the menagerie last time. But now this one is very much in that same vein where they're saying, here's a couple of very cool, unique, special places to explore. And here's all of the stuff that you need to print to bring it to life on your table.
Yeah, I want the Kobold Coalition in my game now.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I am not ever going to buy a 3D printer, and I'm never going to 3D print any of these models. I will still probably back this book because the book looks good.
I mean, if you want them, you can just email them over to me, or if you don't want them, I mean...
He does collect ST...
Over 30 stretch goals, STLs. But let's look at price point here. So to really just get to the core collection, it's going to be $20. You can get the PDF only for $20 as well. You get 1 times core collection of your choice along with unlocked stretch goals, which includes the 1 pre-supported epic boss STL, 15 pre-supported miniature STLs, 15 plus terrain pieces. But if you really want to get the all-in, I'm getting all the books and all the STL files, that is going to be the $80. You're going to get the hardcover. If you want the PDF of the book, then you can get the $70. That's going to be PDF with STL. So those 2 price points are going to be, honestly, if you're looking at a book, normally is going to be $55, $55. Then you're getting about all of these STLs for about $30.
Yeah, I'm shocked deal. It was under 100. I was thinking, I was like, okay, if it's under 120, I'll probably get this.
Yeah.
Under 100, that's great. Yeah. That's really good.
So overall, a really, really cool project. Highlight some more of that art. I think showing off that would be a really, really good idea. And what?
Let's get a nice 360 GIF of the Greater Plague Carrier.
Yeah.
You think that's the one that would have the booty?
Yeah, I have now done a firm analyzation of every STL model that is featured on this campaign, and the Greater Plague Carrier is going to have the best booty.
All right.
So,
I don't know. Did you see that one that orc lady carrying a log?
Might have the cake.
Have to carry that. Good Lord, squats every day.
Squats. So this is going to be my role. Because I think I would have liked to see a little bit more on the page in terms of kind of the art along with the story a little bit highlighted. If you look at the top section, it's more just this body paragraph, why Kickstarter, and you can really essentially move that down, and I think that did a little bit of a disservice. But at the same time, I did watch the video, and it's beautiful. So my base roll is going to be 16, and I'm going to give this a +1. I would have given a +2, but if you come back and send us that STL cake, we'll give you a +2. But it's going to be a 16 +1 for the beautiful miniatures and great, great campaign.
There's a Doomapult, too. That's cool.
A Doomapult.
So many great models in this.
So many great models. Congrats on the success. It's absolutely amazing. We are now going to take our second break of the night, and we will be right back. You'll be hearing from one of our hosts. Be right back.
Hello humanoids, I'm Halfling Hannah, the creator behind Halfling Hobbies. And here at Halfling Hobbies, you are going to find DM resources and only DM resources. We are here for dungeon masters, creating all sorts of things from puzzle templates and downloadable puzzles to DM binder pages, NPCs, loot cards, everything that you could possibly need to help give your game advantage. All of it comes with a healthy serving of food and drink, along with that special halfling hospitality. So grab a mug of ale and a slice of cake, sit back, relax, and dig in to Halfling Hobbies.
Hey everybody, welcome back, and I'm breaking the rules. I'm breaking all the rules tonight because I am not reviewing a role-playing game product. I'm reviewing a board game. And guess what? You're going to have to get over it. Sorry. No, So in all fairness, we have looked at a lot of projects that are like cross the genre. We've looked at like some like graphic novels and like different things like that really feel in the vein of like what the spirit of this show is. And this Kickstarter launched last week, and I have been waiting on this Kickstarter for a very long time because I am incredibly enamored with the idea and as much effort that has gone through this. So this is Aridia, The Paths We Dare Tread, an open world, campaign-based, cooperative fantasy role-playing board game. Okay? 1 to 4 players, all miniatures come pre-painted. So this is not an RPG. This is a board game. You're going to get a giant, huge, massive box like those up there, and you're going to just play this huge, massive game. But let's talk a little bit about why I wanted to feature this one. So this is by Far Off Games, and their first game, so this is their second game ever. Their first game was called Zaya, and it was this open world sandbox sci-fi adventure where you basically played like Firefly starships, rolling around the galaxy, going on missions, bringing in different minerals and stuff like that. Really amazing game. A fantastic sci-fi game. Very broke the genre in a lot of cool ways. Some people still call it the best sandbox game of all time. This is similar to that, but this is more of the dungeon crawling adventure RPG fantasy type of game. Here's a couple of things that I think are absolutely amazing about this that I really want to highlight and feature. So you have this really cool open world map where as you explore, you like flip little hexes up, but then you kind of like take those hexes. And I think if you kind of can scroll down to this explore an open world, right? GIF that it shows where you're kind of like going through this like overworld hex map. And then as you go to these different places, you scroll in and discover these locations, and you move your pieces around the board, and you can go into buildings and meet NPCs and fight monsters and go on quests and find treasure. It is as robust of a board.
So cool.
It is as robust of a board game that I have ever seen. And like, honestly, the price point will speak to that. All of the miniatures are pre-painted, so you don't have to do any of the painting on the miniatures. They all come pre-painted, and that is going to include all of the different. So, like, you choose the head for your character, and then you choose the body based on the class that you're choosing. So you can choose like path of light, path of valor, path of sorcery, all of these different things. You have skill trees and like inventories that you're keeping track of, all done with these really cool like triple layer boards. The pieces like push through and flip around, and they're just very, very cool. All of the different things in here are just A+. This is so cool. One of the coolest projects that I've ever seen, and there is so much to talk about. One of the things that I want to talk about, the art in this is absolutely best that has ever been in any game. It is done by a husband and wife team that call themselves Mr. Cuddington, and they are a highly sought after art duo for the board game world. They work on tons of really cool, amazing, top-notch art projects. And if you look at some of the art in here, it is absolutely like second to none, except for the Wanderers Guide. But like, it is some of the absolute best fantasy art that you can see, and just the options and innovativeness of this game makes me feel like if you are somebody that likes board games, but you've always been maybe intimidated by RPGs, which is a real thing. There's a lot of people I know that are board gamers that are intimidated by how open an RPG is. And there's a lot of people that play RPGs that feel like playing a board game would be way too confining for them, right? And so you have these two like areas, and they don't always like find that Venn diagram. And I feel like this is the perfect game to open that up. I feel like the options and exploration and character growth is as robust as it can be in a board game. And I feel like the entryway to those NPC role-playing elements are as full as they can be in a board game system. And this has lots of stuff like role-playing points that you score and interactive things, and you get to like choose the text that you respond to and make ability checks. The combat system looks really cool and really unique. Everything about this makes me excited. There's not one part of this project that I look at and I say this could be better. I think that this is literally the pinnacle of what RPG and board game marriage should look like. And just from looking at this, I have been so excited about this project for so long. I cannot speak about this project enough. I think it is absolutely phenomenal. What do you guys think?
That's just massive and impressive. And the way in which things like interact on the little board that you have, and then like, this is crazy. They've got little treasure chests that you have laid out. They've got little tiny itty bitty gold that you can get. Like, oh my gosh, they thought of everything.
I love this.
I love the whole like map thing where like you get the little boards and it's
extends.
like, oh, here's the house. Oh, I want to go into that house.
And you flip
boom,
it,
here's
boom.
what the inside of the house is. Yeah.
Here's an NPC and you've got these 3 options for what you do with this NPC and they've got different reactions to those.
It is. I think, Joe, you're right. I think this is the perfect joining of RPG and board game.
Inventory.
It is the perfect overlapping between the two categories. And the one thing that I would say, because I'm not one of those people who will get a giant RPG game, I have some that I've never played.
I think a long time to set up.
It takes one long time to set up. 2, it might seem a little intimidating. But that being said, I think what it has to offer once you get past that kind of initial maybe fear of it, it looks so rewarding. I mean, you can tell this page is one of the longest Kickstarter pages we've ever looked at, but it's done also so well to explain what you're doing, to show the benefits of it. And it's not like it makes me want to keep scrolling. It makes you want to keep scrolling.
It does, yeah. And you just keep seeing things that make you go, oh my gosh. There are individual skill cards that you can get through the process of this that you plug into your character sheet.
Yeah.
So you can customize all of that. You customize your inventory based on the loot that you have, and you put it onto your little character. Like,
it's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
This is beautiful.
Base game. This is the one pill that needs to be swallowed here.
Yeah.
If you want to get this game, $165.
Yeah.
If you want the Kickstarter exclusive expansion, $190. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money, but it's not even nearly as much as some of the projects we've talked about. Like, this is cheaper than the deluxe Avatar pledge that has like the special dice in it.
That's true.
So like, and honestly, I mean, content wise, I guess that's like arguable because like an RPG is kind of like infinite, you know, whereas this is like a finite. But as far as like the amount of product you're gonna get, this is gonna have way more stuff, right?
And if
like,
you're into board games, that's not unreasonable. I mean, a good board game, I'm no problem spending $60 to $70 on one, and they are nowhere near as robust as this. Like,
so. I labored on my roll for this one.
Oh my god.
And I went 3 times. I spent 3 times going through the page and watching the video. I watched the video, scrolled all the way through the page, and I did it again, and I did it again. And what I was doing is I was trying to find something to complain about, and I couldn't find everything. Which means that I am going to give Aridia, the paths we dare tread, a nat 20.
Wow.
This
Two
is
nat 20s in one night, and it's totally deserved.
This is honestly, in my opinion, as close to a perfect project as you can find on Kickstarter. So, congratulations, Far Off Games team.
It's awesome. Really, really, really cool project.
Yeah. Well, let's again flip to the other side of the spectrum from incredibly large and robust to something a little bit simpler.
Okay, I am known for picking the weirdest freaking Kickstarters to review because I just do.
I'm just going to say real quick, So we all pick our stuff like the morning of the episode. So we keep a list and we look at the list periodically throughout the weeks. But like we all decide on our picks that the like morning of, right? It is rare that there isn't at least one time that Hannah will pick something that everybody goes, "What the?"
Just the. All right. You do you.
Yeah, and I always know, too, because I'll mention something about it, like, guys, this is so cool, and there's, like, silence in the chat. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the weird one, right? All right, yeah, this is the weird one. This is the one, and this is the one, and I am in love with it, and it's called Floof Quest. A hassle in the quagmire. An introductory sword and sorcery and 5e adventure of wizardry, floofy familiars trying to save their swamp. Okay, so you want to talk about innocent goodness. This is innocent goodness. They've got 75 backers, about $1,500 back. This is a really, really small Kickstarter, especially compared to some of the one that I reviewed at first. So this is super small, but what this is basically an RPG for kids. This is, hey, I love RPGs. I want to get my kids started in that. I want this to maybe be our family game night, but D&D is way too complicated. Other role-playing systems maybe are a little too serious, maybe a little too complicated for the kiddos. That is what Floof Quest is for. This is an RPG that is designed for the kids. It has its own art style that's meant to be engaging and adorable. So it really is. It's so cute.
Oh, I just found the plushies.
Oh, they're handmade plushies too. That's how adorable this Kickstarter is. There was only 5 of them, and I think my Discord took all 5 because I shared it with them. So Floof Quest, Hassle in the Quagmire. If you would like to learn to play an RPG or teach new or young players to play RPGs, this is an easy and fun way to do it. So you're adventuring in your own froggy floof home. Floof Quest is a simplified one-shot adventure for young or new players to RPGs. So you also have the Find Familiar. That's what the froggy floof is a Find Familiar spell. So it's a short one-shot adventure that's played in 2 to 4 hour session with a minimum rules and maximum storytelling fun. So they've cut out all of the rules. They've got this adorable little story to get you started. And these are the little characters that you play. And they have stickers.
Oh
Do you have stickers for these guys? You've got Boomba.
Everybody pick your favorite sticker.
Yep. So here they are. You got Boomba. You've got Tuffy, Bazinga, Mert, Poggy, and Chimbabumba.
Yeah, I mean, Chumbabumba is the best.
Chumbabumba.
I like Boomba.
Singing his little heart out.
I like Boomba.
You like Boomba?
He's just like...
Angry frog. Oh my gosh, I like them all. I think I'm for Bazinga. Oh, you like Bazinga's little hat?
I do have one question.
Yes.
Because frogs are not inherently floofy.
Right.
Why Floof Quest, I wonder?
Because it's froggy floof fun.
But they're not floofs.
But it's alliterated.
It is alliterated. And it's just, they can be what they want to be, Alex. Let them be floofy.
Frogs have, like, really fine hair, don't they?
Sure. I don't know. I don't think so.
It's a fantasy game, Alex. They can be...
No, that's an angry floof.
No,
these are happy floofs.
She's not an angry floof.
Maybe. Anyway.
But I'm not judging. Floof works. I was just
wondering.
Whatever.
I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I just have adorable pictures.
All right.
Look at them. Look at them, though. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just adorable. It's a one-shot. It's simplified for kids. And what kid wouldn't freaking love this? And then you've got the adorable floofy familiars. You can get this PDF for $5. Please go support this person for making this adorable thing. Like, this is so cute. And what Kickstarter is for, which is why I always pick the weird ones, because that's what Kickstarter is all about. Being weird and finding other people who are weird. I love weird. So you got $5. If you want the print version, which is just a little print, it's gonna be $11. I mean, you can do that. There's Starbucks drinks that are more expensive than that. Yeah. So, the sticker pack. If you want the sticker pack, though, you have to go up to 22, which I still think is worth it because.
And then the handmade stuffed animals.
The handmade stuffed animals. There was only 5 of those.
Oh, they're all gone.
I don't remember. Yeah, they're all gone.
They're all gone.
It's no longer available. All gone. I told you. I think my my Discord took them all because they're really cute.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep. So there you go.
What would you give this for a roll?
This is just a solid, fun little 14.
Solid.
I just love it. It's adorable. Right down the middle. It succeeds on most things. And the art, I just... Mwah.
And Steve Vander Ark has backed it.
Yes! There you go.
Steve.
Let us know how the grandchildren like it, Steve. Thank you for supporting little Kickstarters. All right, Alex, last one.
All right.
Did you give it a roll?
Yeah, I gave it 14.
Oh,
you never listened to me.
Sorry.
All right. I am the resident dice goblin. It is time.
Huzzah!
It is time for the dice review of the night. And this one I am highlighting Dragon Eye Dice, the Chromatic Dragon Collection.
Ooh.
They've raised $752,000. Over 5,600 backers. 22 days to go. Made by John and Oliver. These are super cool. They're like,
these are creepy.
They look like dragon eyes, obviously for dragon, but they also look like the Eye of Sauron.
They do. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like,
so these are super, super cool. I think they're super creative. I'm really interested how they make that. Really, really super interesting. But this is what we normally do. We take a look through all of these, then we'll say which ones we like the best. Definitely answer in the comments which ones you like. But let's give it a second. I already know which ones I'm voting for.
I feel like these would haunt my dreams. Good Lord. They're terrifying.
Yeah. I got mine immediately. So I have my top and my bottom.
Okay.
I think I know what yours are.
The best ones I think are the Black Dragon Eyes. I really like kind of like the pearlescent black semi-translucent nature of them. But oh my god, the White Dragon Eyes are something straight out of the pits of hell.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like a goat.
I hate the white ones.
I think the white ones would have been better if they were like an Arctic blue. If the pupils were blue and less purple and dark, because I think it's a very similar purple. Yeah, I think the pupils are a little bit stark for the clear, but I'm the same. I love the Black Dragon ones. I think those are perfect. I love
my favorite is the Blue Dragon.
The Blue Dragon. See,
yeah, I love the electricity coming off of it.
Imagine if they put the Blue Dragon eye on the clear.
No,
I feel like it would have been
so
much better.
No, I don't want the clear. I like the blue and then blue on blue. It looks cool. I like it.
Here's one thing I'll also note. I really like the D4s in this. So D4s are usually like the worst dice to roll. They're like these triangles.
Yeah.
They made these like
logs.
Yeah, like these like
D4
logs.
Yeah.
Which are really cool.
Wow. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Highlighting that right now. I think that's
and then they don't hurt as bad when you accidentally step on them.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So to get a full set of dice, $70. It's definitely
are they resin?
Round edge, legendary cut. You also get a felt dice bag, one colored dragon egg to store your dice, one set of 9 and one set of 9. So you get a lot with that.
Okay. Yep.
So honestly,
me a dragon egg.
So that's for like so they have 2 cuts for each version, right? They have the like regular round edge dice, like
regal cut, and then they have the legendary cut.
Yeah, so the legendary cut is like your typical round D&D dice, and your regal cut is more like your sharp-edged, high-quality.
They just call them different things.
Yeah.
So the resin sharp-edge dice, which you saw with like, the Wormwood Kickstarters, is a little bit more expensive.
Right, to get those sharp edges.
I think these are super cool, super creative.
It's creepy.
They're dice, right? I think they are a little bit more niche than usual, so I am going to roll these with a 13.
solid.
They're kind of mesmerizing, though.
They
like,
are
you can't look
mesmerizing.
away from the eye.
All right. That was a very also high-rolling night. Let's be honest about that.
We had some really good ones.
Now, we normally end. Joe, do you have a question or something to discuss for the end of the episode?
I do. So, speaking of snootlings, what is a talking animal that you think would be the best type of talking animal to introduce to a D&D campaign? Whether as a party familiar or as a part of a quest or something, or maybe even a type of animal-like race that would exist in that world. What is the best type of animal that you would introduce into a campaign that would make it really cool and special?
Does annoying count as cool and special?
Yeah,
because it would make
absolutely.
me happy, but it would annoy my players.
Absolutely.
Sloth.
A sloth?
Sloth people, yeah. They just do
Sloth.
everything so slow and like talk really slowly.
And the whole quest revolves around having to like get stuff for them, so they constantly are interacting with them. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, I would love that.
What about you, Alex?
Oh, man. I'm still thinking. This is a little bit of a tough one for me.
I want to introduce a race of squirrel warriors that live in an enchanted forest, and not all the squirrels in the world are like sentient,
Right.
like thinking creatures, but there's a special race of squirrels that live in an enchanted forest that are like little squirrel warriors, and
Yes.
they can like interact with the party and have their own like community.
I like it. It's adorable. Little noses.
I would love for like there's one area that we specifically are featuring in the Wanderer's Guide that's like the archipelago area. I think it'd be really cool to have a full race of like birds of paradise. All of them look different. All of them have different like plumes. I think that would be really fun. Like each one is specifically unique, and maybe there's something to do with like certain looks relate to certain classes of the people, and I think that would be a lot
Like
of fun.
grungs, but with birds.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
That's a good one.
Well,
All right, there you go. If you want to make a Kickstarter, there
Yeah,
you go. You've got 3 options for a Kickstarter now. You're welcome.
Phoenix. Steve Vanderark said Foxfolk.
Foxfolk.
That's a good one. If
Yeah.
you are
Like
watching this post being live, go in and answer in the comments what type of animal would you create into a anthropomorphic race or people or NPC. And this has been Roll for Review. We will be back at the end of the end of the month,
31st.
the 31st. So we'll be taking a 2-week break. We'll be back on the 31st. And if you missed any parts of this episode, feel free. It will be uploaded first thing tomorrow morning. Go back and look through. Definitely give a look at all of these projects. Thank you all so much. This has been Roll for Review. We will see you next time.
Bye.